Hey everybody, it's Shane at Pulse Personal Training, here to talk about a technical tip that I call dragging the wrists. And this is going to be something you can implement on things like front raises, lateral raises. There are a lot of little places that this is going to come into play. So I've got a dowel rod, just a wooden rod because it doesn't weigh anything, and I've got some dumbbells and a 25-pound bar here. So starting with a front raise, there's some technical things I'm going to do, like standing up against a pole. I'm going to put my back against here, I'm going to put my head back. That way I can prevent myself from pushing my head forward or leaning back into this. And when you do a front raise, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see somebody start down here and raise that bar up, and you see my knuckles are pointed straight ahead. In order to have done that, my wrist extensors, or the muscles on the top of my wrist, they are working to lift my knuckles up. And by engaging the wrist extensors, it makes it very hard not to bend the elbow. And as soon as you bend the elbow, you're transferring some of that force off that front delt. When I do a front delt raise or when I do a lateral raise, I'm looking for as little elbow bend as I can. So one thing I've developed, and I see a lot of other pro bodybuilders and weightlifters and stuff do this, is as I come up, it is not my intent to keep my knuckles pointing ahead of me. I'm going to come up, and as I come up, you're going to see my wrists kind of dragging. My knuckles are still hanging down towards the ground. Rather than trying to point my knuckles ahead, I'm letting my wrists hang down. So that repetition would look like this. The wrists are actually changing position as the weight comes up. It's not my intent to lift my knuckles because the knuckles bend the wrist tends to bend the elbow, and then the movement ends up looking like this. And you can see how much higher the bar finished than my elbow or than my shoulder joint. There's something going on there. It's probably putting stress across the elbow. So the same thing would be true whether you're doing a front raise. You can see the tops of my hands. You're not looking at my wrists, or you're looking at the tops of my hands and not my knuckles. So I would drag those up. The same thing can be true with a lateral raise. It is not my intent to point the knuckles to the wall. As I come up on a lateral raise, I'm going to drag those wrists again. By flexing the wrist rather than extending the wrist, extending is going to likely bend those elbows. By allowing that drag, it actually is a lot easier to contract the tricep, and contracting the tricep is what's going to lock your elbow, and locking your elbow is what's going to create a longer lever so that you have a better application of force to the delt. That's some physics, but basically the longer the arm, the more stress you're going to get right where you want it. So drag the knuckles. It's not my intent to stay knuckles up, because then you can see how that looks. My wrists actually ended significantly above my elbows and my shoulders. So drag the knuckles. Drag the knuckles. And if you're looking for strictness again, if you think you're cheating, or if your weight is too heavy, put your back, put your head, make sure you push your head back, and try your front raises and your lateral raises, and see how hard you can make light weights. These are 5s, right? How hard can you make a light weight by either being that strict or that aware of what you're doing at the wrist and the elbow so you can target the shoulder? Drag the wrist. Small technical point, but it might make a huge change on your delt development. Delts are a big deal, right? So my name's Shane. This is Pulse. We do stuff like this all the time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.